Hello, people of YouTube. My name is Steve Gray, and thank you for watching. If you're new here, please hit that subscribe button, turn on that notification bell, leave a like, and feel free to comment down below what you would like me to do for future anime and cartoon-related videos. Today, we are talking about episode 5 and 6 of Akudama Drive. Episode 5 is going to be more of your setup episode. Episode 6 is where you get all of your action, and some sad stuff happens. So let's start with episode 5 first and foremost. So basically, it's kind of like a resting episode. They're all kind of outside of the quarantine zone, semi in the quarantine zone at the same time, but not really. Kind of weird. It's basically like a giant abandoned city is the best way to describe it. It's kind of like Hiroshima. When they dropped the bomb there, I think it's kind of somewhat relating to that. Somewhat yes, somewhat not really. And for many years, it was basically just a giant abandoned city. Nobody was there, and then they rebuilt it, obviously, because of the radiation that lasted a while and messed a lot of stuff up. Apparently, they are there for some sort of reason. We do not currently know the reason, but it is the location that the two kids want to go to. So, yeah. The two kids act very weird because they're like, oh, we don't even really need food. So it makes me kind of believe, which kind of further confirms in episode 6, that they are not fully human, or they are human creations, like without like natural means of birth, something like a test tube kid, or where they were created. They're semi-robotic, semi-human at the same time, have special abilities, can live forever. It's kind of really weird. They just seem off. Doctor and Swindler are kind of going at it. Doctor doesn't like how Swindler seems like she's all high and mighty and above all of these other people. But at the same time, I think she kind of is. She's the only one of them that hasn't really committed a serious crime. She's never actually killed anybody, unlike the rest of them. And I think Doctor kind of somewhat strives to be here. Because all of the stuff that Doctor's done, if you think about it, maybe she thinks I should have just been a regular doctor and had a normal life. But there's something, most of these, obviously the bulk of these characters, there's something psychologically wrong with them. Something happened in their past in order to get them to a point where they are like, oh crap, I gotta go kill a bunch of people and do all this stuff, break the law a million different ways, in order to get money and live a happier life. Hacker at this point is gone. We don't know if he is alive or dead. We end episode 5 with the executioner, who is very injured, facing up against everybody. Brawler's very excited, obviously, because this is the first time Brawler was actually scared ever fighting. So, I mean, you think Brawler's like this simple character, super headstrong, just wants to fight because he likes it, and yes, he is all of those things, but at the same time, it's interesting to see him get real emotions, because he seems like the type of guy that's not afraid of anybody, and then he goes against this guy and he literally can't move, and he's like physically shaking because he realizes that he's either an even match or that he can't defeat this guy. That this guy is probably going to kill him, and this is the first time in a long time that he's ever felt the possibility of death knocking at his door, which kind of leads up into episode 6. So episode 5-wise, if we're rating that, that's probably, 6, 7, somewhere around there. Not great, not terrible. More of a dialogue episode, kind of showing the relationships between the characters. Character development obviously plays a role in there as well. We learn that Swindler has those very much so motherly instincts. Brawler obviously is just there to beat the crap out of everybody. Courier, we don't know what his reasons are. The only reason Cutthroat is currently there is because he is in love with Swindler at this point in time and doesn't want to see anything happen to her. Hacker is gone. Hoodlum just kind of got wrapped into this like Swindler did and is just there to hype up Brawler. And then the doctor, we're not really sure why she's there. Obviously, she likes money, but she has a very interesting ability where it's like impossible to kill her, as we've seen in the previous episodes, and also as you saw in episode 6 as well, when she got her stomach sliced open. I honestly didn't think for a minute that she was actually dead in episode 6, so we can just kind of move on to episode 6. This is kind of where all the crazy action takes place in this particular episode. So, as I said, we end episode 5 with the executioner kind of saying, I'm going to kill all of you, and then we go into episode 6 where all of the action takes place, and the executioner is just fighting, and he's actually keeping up with a lot of them. I think the main issue that falls upon both him and Brawler in this is Brawler ends up getting his wound that the doctor healed reopened, so, obviously that's going to be a disadvantage. The Executioner is very beat up, and he also gets a wound similar to the Executioner, I think on the opposite side, and it slows him down, like immensely slows him down. We get from the Chief and the Pupil, the background information that we learn from the Executioners is that there was only one. Initially, it was just a one-person team, and basically they were people that are similar to the Akudama. And the reason they're so similar is because their goal is to basically kill all of them, the Akudama, the bad people, as the Akudamas is just kill people, get money. So, there's different goals for different reasons. Obviously, some say one is wrong, some say one is right. Not going to, by today's standards, obviously the Executioners are going to be right. But in the Akudama's mind, they are correct. So it's really weird to see that whole situation kind of play out there. Not sure how that scenario really works, but basically 80% of them died because they thought it was the righteous thing to do. So you gotta kind of imagine what happens in the Akudama, or the Executioner's life, rather, in order to get them to that spot. And the reason I say that is because they probably have some sort of issue in their life too, where maybe they did something bad in the past, or who knows, and the only way they think to redeem themselves is by ridding the world of evil people. So the reason they put them in two-man teams is because of those magical little things called feelings. That's right, feelings. And the reason I say they're magical little things is because it allows them to care about each other, the master and the pupil. Obviously, there can be some issues of sexual tension in there, as the Chief kind of said, in certain cases. But basically, they care about each other, like a father-daughter situation is the best way to describe that, and they don't want to see each other die. So it basically took that 80% and dropped it to 30%, which that 50% increase of life is pretty good. Obviously, it's not 100% because, you're dealing with high-grade killers here, so somebody's going to die at some point, but that's still really, really good. So let's get into the fighting part of it. Brawler and the Executioner pretty much end up killing each other, as far as we can tell. They both go all out. And in many ways, the Executioner is kind of fighting for the same reason that Brawler is. At a certain point, I think he just likes it. It's heavy hand-to-hand combat the entire way. And they do end up killing each other, by the looks of it anyway. I'm not 100% sure if that's positive. Both of their eyes are closed. The pupil's basically crying over Master's body. Hoodlum is basically there as well. I don't know if he was actually crying or not, but he was definitely sad that Brawler was dead. Picks up one of the Executioner's sword, runs after the pupil. So Hoodlum most likely is dead as well. The reason I say Hoodlum's probably dead is because the pupil lost her eye. I think it was her right eye, if I remember correctly. We got to see her unbandage her. She had this wrap at the end of the episode, and it looked like she was missing an eye, most likely. So she probably killed Hoodlum. So Hoodlum, Brawler, Hacker. Hacker we may see again at some point, but Hoodlum, Brawler, and that one Executioner, I'd say they're probably done for the rest of the season and the rest of the series. And the reason I say that is because Doctor wasn't around to save anybody. The Doctor pretty much was trying to get the kids delivered with Courier and Swindler and Cutthroat. And we got to see Cutthroat be kind of crazily sadistic at this point in time. And the reason I say that is because as Courier and the Executioner are fighting, because the Executioner is basically just beating the crap out of everybody at this point in time. This is after he slices open the doctor. She saves herself because, I didn't expect her to be dead. Let's put it that way. Executioner showed up. She was in the middle of a thought, cut her gut open, and she just sewed herself back up, good to go. Good as new. But he trapped Cutthroat underneath some sort of giant metal whatever and stabbed him. And he was going to go after the assets, which are the two children, and he was going to go kill Swindler. And Cutthroat cut off his own legs and then stabbed the Executioner through the kid. Like his arm went through the kid into the Executioner, and then Cutthroat was angry because he missed. He was going for a vital organ, and he missed, and that's what ended up obviously putting the Executioner in the spot that he was against Brawler, where they both ended up dying at the end of the episode. So Swindler ends up slapping Cutthroat after he gets his legs sewn back on, because the doctor is just that friggin' good that he cut off his own legs. She stitched him up, and he's walking around like nothing except in some pain. As he said, he was like, this really hurts, but at least I can stab properly again. So the Cutthroat is just sadistic. I thought he was done for too by the look of it, but nope, he was very much so alive at the end of this episode in the foreseeable future. But basically he smacks him because to Swindler, these kids are just two normal little kids. She doesn't realize that they are some sort of technological advancement or something that have regenerative abilities. Earlier in the episode, when they both fell off the bike with Courier, basically they said it didn't matter if they got injured. And we learned that after Cutthroat freaking shoved his arm through the kid, I'm just going to call him Black Cat, he was actually able to regenerate. So that is why Kanto probably wants these kids, because they have some sort of crazy regenerative ability, whether they are real humans or subhumans, cyborgs or whatever the heck you want to call them. Some sort of crazy ability where they pretty much cannot die, I'm guessing. So it doesn't really matter if they get hurt or not, because they can just regenerate internal organs. He had a friggin' cannonball-sized hole through his stomach. So it's kind of crazy that he was able to get through that no problem. The other kid, the sister, she was kind of saying 001003 multiple times, didn't really have a conversation. And we find out that there is some sort of secret underground city. One of the cutaways with the bunny and the shark that we get to see every little episode, cutesy little thing. It's kind of like a little kiddie TV show. We learned that once the bomb went off between Kanto and Kanzai, that a lot of people just died, some people got rescued, and a lot of people went underground. So there is actually some sort of secret underground city near the quarantine zone that we will probably see in the next episode. This episode, episode 6, I'm going to be rating this a little higher than episode 5. This one I'm going to give a solid 8. Probably 8.5, maybe pushing 9. This was just an overall great episode. We got to see, obviously, character deaths, which is never good, but at the same time, it's sad, but it's kind of interesting, because obviously the way this whole situation is playing out, someone's going to have to die. We just don't know who it was. Brawler being the headstrong person that he was, I kind of figured. And Doctor, she's not really weak, but at the same time, she has problems with her own internal monologue to the point of where she doesn't realize what's happening around her, which is a problem. So I was thinking that she might die, but she can sew herself up, so I don't think she's dying anytime soon either. But I think she may be a problem for the kids in the foreseeable future. I'm not really sure how that whole situation will play out there. But moving on to the next episode, we are going to see the underground city. They're going to get their billion, probably going to get their bomb collars unhooked because the kids were delivered fully, and who knows, be good to go. At the same time, I can definitely see the pupil wanting to go after them because they killed her master, and there's a lot more executioners out there, and if they figure out basically where they were when the whole thing with the master went down, there's going to be a bunch of them going after them, and we might have some sort of a giant, crazy, epic battle happening in the future episodes. We got 6 episodes left. If there's 13 episodes for the season, and 9 out of 10, the way it's going, we're probably going to get a second season. Animation-wise, I'm actually starting to like it. I think the first episode or two threw me off a little bit because they did the thing they did with like One Punch Man season 2, a little bit of Attack on Titan, where it's like the combination 2D 3D thing, and I don't particularly care for it. And they didn't really have that the past several episodes, so I think maybe that was something they tried doing, didn't like it, and then changed up the route for the future episodes. So no longer having an issue with the animation. And enjoying it, either that or I'm no longer considering a factor because I'm just enjoying the show as much as I am. I think that pretty much wraps this up for episode 5 and 6. Maybe I'll do an episode 7 by itself, but more than likely you're probably going to see a episode 7 and 8 combined, like I've been doing. So that way I can do other random anime videos in there if something interesting comes up. So let me know what you think. Let me know if there's other series you want me to talk about. Cartoons are welcome as well. As I said, currently I am watching Star Wars The Clone Wars, so if you want me to talk about that a little bit, I can. My name is Steve Gray. Thank you for watching, and as always, have a good one.